Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, whenever y'all are catching this. Welcome to episode 66 of the Uncommon Commentators. Almost said my name of my other podcast that I do. Thank y'all for joining us for this. Got some great topics for y'all tonight. But always love to start the show off by asking my boys how they're doing. Like I said, clocking this in at episode 66. So I've been doing this for a while. And yeah, man, always great to talk some hoops with my main man Wiley and my boy Garrett. But how you boys doing today? You can start first, Garrett. How was your day, man? And how's your night been so far?
All good, my brother. The week is almost coming to an end, so can't wait for a weekend. So all good over here, brother.
Mm-hmm. And how you feeling, Wiley?
Man, listen, I done came back from the gym. Your boy is tired. I think just more so, it's nothing like going to the gym, getting like halfway or majority through your workout, and then you start feeling nauseous. So that was how I felt going towards the end of my workout, and then trying to push through. So yeah. So but nah, overall I'm good, man. I can't complain. Shoot. Look, I'm above ground. I'm out here producing these podcasts, and I'm here on with y'all tonight, so I can't complain at all.
And you already know that we're absolutely blessed to have you. Always love having you on camera, talk about the hoops with us. And hey, man, congratulations on that workout too. You know, hard work always pays off. And you already know how it goes with the muscles and stuff. You gotta break them down to build them back up and bigger. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You know, it's always good to stay in the gym regardless what age you are, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So just trying to keep that habit in myself, especially in the new year. You know, like everyone always has that new year resolution to go to the gym out the gate. If you go to the gym on like January 2nd or January 1st, like the next day, it's packed in there. But if you keep going to the same gym throughout the week, some people are gonna die off and stuff. So always good to maintain that consistency. It's kind of funny I'm mentioning consistency because that's one thing that the Phoenix Suns have not had as of late, and that's what we're gonna talk about tonight, guys. The Phoenix Suns obviously had a lot of hype when they first made their trades to get Bradley Beal, when they got Kevin Durant, to surround them around their franchise player, in my opinion, Devin Booker coming out of Kentucky. And so far, we can definitely say they have been a disappointment given the results that they have displayed. It's pretty surprising with how many dynamic scorers they have on the team. And really just seeing like the results that they're producing. It's honestly like pretty surprising given how they have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, like even Bradley Beal, you know, coming over from Washington after all that time he spent. You know, we really thought he was coming to a contender, but it turns out, you know, he won't be able to find much success on his other team either. But that actually goes with my first question for the Phoenix Suns. As of right now, they are the 11th seed in the Western Conference, not even eligible for the play-in spot. So I'm going to start out with you, Garrett. Where do you think the Phoenix Suns have gone wrong this season? And can they salvage this season? And if they cannot salvage it, where do they go from here?
Yeah, I don't think there's a world where they can salvage this season or even salvage the team going forward, honestly, because of the fact that they just have too many problems to deal with. And I don't think that where Kevin Durant is at in his career, uh, Devin Booker, he's 28, so he's, getting up there in age. So it's just like if this team is going to really compete, I mean, they have to make smarter moves, honestly. And I think the move of getting Bradley Beal was really the starting point because that move didn't really make any sense to me. And it just hasn't worked out between those three, between KD, Booker, and Beal. That fit just never worked. You saw what happened to them in the first round against Minnesota. I mean, they got swept, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact of the matter is just this is not a team that's built for success or long term or short term rather. So I think what has to happen is they need to really go into a full rebuild. Just to be honest with you, I don't think that there's a pathway to really make this team successful as far because this is supposed to be a championship contending team Obviously, that was the whole point of getting Bradley Beal to pair with Booker and KD. But like I said, that didn't work out at all. So, and not only that though, but you don't really have much draft capital to work with. I mean,
Right.
you traded your 2031 first round pick to the Jazz to get three less favorable picks back. I mean, you could say those are valuable. I mean, they are assets, but they're not picks that are going to make you, set you up nicely for the long term future. And
Right.
you're not really going to have your picks until I think 2031 or 32, somewhere in
Mhm.
there. So it's just like you're literally talking about like almost, a decade because we're in 2025. So you're talking about almost a decade of not
Mhm.
having your own picks. So if you're going to have any chance of recouping those picks or trying to get yourself back on track, that means that hey, you're gonna have to move Katie, buddy. That means you're gonna have to move Booker. That means you're gonna have to move Bill if you're able to. Now, obviously, your best trade asset is Booker because he is the youngest and he's a guy that can be very valuable for a lot of teams. And you could say the same thing for Kevin Durant, but you may not get as much as you would get back for Booker because KD is 36 and teams are not going to sell the farm for him. Now you do see teams that he could be a potential fit on. A
Mhm.
potential fit you've heard earlier today. The Heat, the
Mhm.
Spurs, Mavericks, Lakers, and the Timberwolves are teams that he could potentially land. But as far as what team he could go to, I think that's up for grabs for anybody to give a take or two on. But I'm just saying that where he's at in his in his career, I just don't think that nobody's going to give a lot of assets for him. But that's why I say for Booker, you would probably get a lot more. And I think that's what's best. But of course, I think Phoenix is in a place where they want to win, but I think at the very least you'll have to move at least one of those players out of the three.
Mhm. And even then, before you go, Wiley, I just wanted to expand on Garrett's point about Kevin Durant and his age at the moment. You are right. He is 36 years old. He's currently averaging 26.9 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. He just had 34 points, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds during the win over the Clippers. Pretty great win for the Suns. They definitely needed it for the morale. Absolutely. And just saying that alone, like obviously he could still play at a high level, even at his age. As Katie just said, as Katie always says, I just care about hooping. You feel me? He's truly obsessed with it, and given his body, Kevin Durant is still a very much a specimen on the court, especially how he uses his body. The Durantula, as people like to call him, absolutely. But for me, um, I do think that, I agree with you when they say they're not going to sell the farm for him. Just at his age, we really don't know how much longer Kevin Durant has playing at this level. We've seen him have injuries in the past as well with his feet, like when he suffered an Achilles injury. And we don't know, again, when he could suffer something like that magnitude. And if he were to suffer that, could he return to this level? Of course, he's done it before, but this would be at a way later age, at 36, 37, where it's going to be way harder to come back from an injury. So I just wanted to, I guess, and you can answer this too, Wiley, when it's time for you to go for your opinion on it. But I wanted to ask Garrett, if any of those teams were to get him, do you think they would sign him to like a 2-year, $150 million extension, like a 2-year, 180 million? Like can Kevin Durant still command that kind of money, averaging the numbers that I just said?
I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it just comes down to obviously which team makes more sense. I think a team like the teams that I named, I think a team like the Mavericks probably makes more sense
Mm-hmm.
because they fit with KD. Not well, KD he fits with Kyrie and AD's timeline better because they're kind of around the same age. I mean, all of them are in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could say the Lakers, but with LeBron about to retire soon. And I mean, you could pair him with Luca, but like I said, I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it's just more
Mhm,
so okay. You're going to need to add more pieces around Luca besides KD. So it's
mhm,
where okay, if you sign KD, great. Then what's the next move? Obviously, they need a big. You can't go after Mark Williams because that trade went, that didn't go through. So it's like okay, you're gonna have to pivot somewhere else. The Spurs, for example, that's an interesting team. I don't see why they wouldn't. They could do that move as well because you just traded for De'Aaron Fox. Of course, you drafted Wemby, and so they have other young players and assets that they could package together for KD. And look, I wouldn't. And who knows? I mean, some people may say the Spurs are I would consider San Antonio as a dark horse contending team. I wouldn't come out the gate and say, "Hey, this is an instant championship contending team." But I think that is a team that is held to be a dark horse contending team. If they're able to make that move and sign other free agents potentially, and depending
mhm,
on what assets they give up, they could still get a top 10 player in the draft, and they can make some other moves. But I'm just
mhm,
naming a couple of teams that could fit. But yeah, I think a team like that. But I'd say at the very least, I think the Mavericks, because like I said, I think his timeline matches well with Kyrie and AD. But yeah, I think those teams that I named, yeah, I think they'll be comfortable of giving that kind of
yeah,
contract.
signing.
It just depends on the price. That's what it comes down to. If it's where hey we had to give up the farm or almost a farm for KD, then those teams may not be willing to do that. But yeah, I can
Mhm.
see them giving them that kind of money for sure.
Nah, for sure. Wiley, how do you feel about the whole Phoenix situation, Wiley? We saw Katie get into it. Not really get into it, but there was a little spat with Mike Budenholzer on the sideline the other night. Mike Budenholzer, the five-time NBA champion, two-time coach of the year, future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Mike Budenholzer, really underrated coach and also a Popovich disciple. Phenomenal coach, in my opinion. Always gonna love you, baby. East Coast the Atlanta Hawks. And how do you feel about Phoenix and what they got going on right now? I only mentioned Mike Budenholzer because obviously we've seen him have success with multiple different teams, and to see him come over to Phoenix with this type of roster and not replicate the kind of success kind of spells a red flag for me. We saw him go to Milwaukee and win a championship. I just mentioned the Hawks. He got a Hawks team that had no superstar with Paul Millsap and Al Horford and Jeff Teague. He got them to win 60 games in a season. So, what do you think's going on in Phoenix with their turmoil, and what direction do they like? Do they go? Do they keep Devin, who's 28, turns 29 next October, and try to build around him, or do they let him go and try to get some picks back in this draft, knowing how stacked this draft is? Like where do you think they go in the future?
Man, I'm looking at the rosters and depth chart now. Who put this team together? Because this team is trash. The only reason why it got so much hype is because you put. First of all, Garrett, I'm with you. Bringing in Bradley Beal for who? For what? Because you're bringing in another shooting guard. You already have one. You have
Mhm.
one, Kevin Booker. Why are we bringing in Bradley Beal? What? Because he wanted to
I
get
do.
out
I
of
do, I do, I do, I do want to say this real quick. I'm just speaking on people as to why they did it because even for me, it was like, because you're talking about, I guess during that time. I don't think Bradley Beal is a top five shooting guard, but I think during his time with the Wizards, he was that guy. He was one of the top, shooters at his position. So I think people thought that okay, you add, Devin Booker, who is one of the best shooting guards in the league, you put those two guys together. That could turn out to be something lethal, but obviously that didn't turn out. But like I said, I didn't think the fit, was there, but I'm just speaking on behalf of
yeah.
other people
No,
as to
no, I
why they
get you,
thought
but
that way. But yeah.
the fit, that's the thing. Those they you can tell they don't fit. And
Right, right, right.
the when you look at Bradley Beal in Washington, somebody had to score the ball after John Wall left. So
Mhm.
you had Bradley Beal. This is This is the whole Kevin Love situation again when he was in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Somebody had to do the work in Minnesota, and it was Kevin Love. But yeah, like bringing him in to me never made any sense unless you were going to have him to where he played more with the second string. Like still, if you was gonna start him, but more so fit him as, I guess you could say, a six man. I don't know how you work that part out, but more so, hey, I need your veteran presence for our second squad for the most part. Like we still gonna start you, but you're gonna play. Your minutes will seem like a lot because you're going to start, and then as the second string comes in, you're going to be in with them, and then as the game goes, we mix you back in with the starting crew. And then you bring in Kevin Durant, which of course bringing in Kevin Durant. I mean, who would pass up on Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant is probably one of the few players in the league right now that you can drop him on any team and he'll succeed. And I'm not talking about just from an individual standpoint, but from a team standpoint as well, because he's a hooper. Hoopers know they not only know how to, get their points and their stats themselves, but also to help the team, to help their teammates as well. So Kevin Durant, he's just one of them ones that you can put him on any team and it's going to work out. He's going to make sure it works out because of course, his size, his ability, by far the best scorer in that shit that I've ever seen. Like he can shoot it from anywhere. He can dribble, pass, do whatever you need. If from a defensive standpoint, like he can hold his own. So, but as far as like the way this team has been constructed, man, like this is a detriment to the organization of the Suns. Like y'all set yourselves up for this. You don't have any, like you said, you don't have any draft picks until what, 2031. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're gonna do to figure that part out to get you some draft picks. Somebody's gonna be a sucker enough to make a trade with you and give you a couple draft picks here in the near future. It's bound to happen. We just saw it with the Lakers. They didn't have any draft picks, and boom, lo and behold, you get a couple of draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what should Phoenix do for this season, it's too late to tear. What's up?
I was going to say one thing before you say that. I just want to give some context. So the money they have committed alone, they owe KD $194 million. They owe DB $220 million, and they owe Bradley $251 million. All three under contract. So I just wanted to put that in context, given their salary cap, like, where like the moves they can even try to make. Yeah. Outside of that, like the next highest paid guy is Grayson Allen at $70 million. So the drop off is pretty significant. Like there's no other dude on the team making triple digit millions. So if one of those guys goes, like it definitely saves the salary cap. And Kevin Durant has the least, he has the least amount left. But if I had to say, I think Bradley might be the one to go, given that $251 million. But please continue. I just wanted to give some money. So,
No, you good. I mean, Devin Booker ain't going nowhere. If I'm in that organization, Devin Booker ain't going nowhere.
One of the greatest Suns of all time, in my opinion. To ever wear the jersey, most definitely. Like his numbers, what he's done. I mean, like they went to the.
I wouldn't say never. I wouldn't say never because I mean we saw Luka get traded now, and I mean the way it's looking like this offseason.
No, I'm not saying he would never get traded. I'm saying if I'm in the organization.
Oh, most likely.
Yeah, if I'm a part of the Phoenix Suns and I have some, I have some power to, I have say of who stays, who goes. Devin Booker ain't going nowhere. Like
out of the three,
if you can, you get rid of Bradley Beal,
Mm-hmm.
But again, the way his contract is structured, good luck. Kevin Durant's contract, I mean, probably, I guess it's the most movable. Like you said, it's the least amount of the three. Hell, I think at this point, Kevin Durant's he's going to want to get traded anyways. So they'll probably, make his wish come true. I'll discuss I guess teams when we get to his legacy and talk about that. So I'll hold off on that. But it sucks. It sucks for Phoenix right now because they're in a terrible spot. Like you can't you're too far in the season to try and tank. And well yeah. Because
they could try to get the play in, maybe get the play in spot.
It's like they're in a damn if you do, damn if you don't. So do you go for the play in, or do you try and tank the rest of the season? But of course, when you still have all your, you still have your team playing, it's going to be more so, hey, let's at least try and get into play in and see what magic we can make from there. Going into this offseason, like I said, Kevin Durant's probably gone. Like let's be real. Kevin Durant's up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to, of course, it's going to remain to be seen what they get for KD, and hopefully they can get something, especially some draft capital, so that way they can kind of rebuild this team. Again, depending on who they trade with and what's given up and what comes into Phoenix, that remains to be seen. But at this point, it's pretty much let's finish this season out as strong as possible and then prepare for whatever happens this come off season.
It's pretty funny. Like the play-in caught so much ridicule at its inception, and now it's saving.
I still hate the play-in, but.
Yeah, me too.
I still hate it, but yeah, like you said, it's saving teams like
literally.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
like
literally.
It's crazy, bro. Like it's so, if they make the 10th seed, you can make the playoffs. Like that's crazy, bro. But you did mention it, of course. Just ending on Phoenix. I hope them nothing but the best. The Western Conference is cutthroat right now. Like the Lakers are killing it, the Grizzlies are killing it, the Nuggets are killing it. They beat the Clippers last night. That was a good win for them, like I said. We'll see how they look from here on out. Their next 4 games are on the road. So that already puts them at a disadvantage with the referees, you could say. But given their personnel, they can beat any team on any given night. If I had to give a reason why, you can say defense, yeah, but I think it's some inner turmoil stuff. It's 3 ball-dominant players on the same floor, and they're all trying to figure out, how to work together. And all 3 players have been leaders of their own franchises. Now they all have to learn how to share the ball and try to play with each other like that. And that's just almost impossible to do. I know it's their second season together, but they would have had to grow for a real long time. It's kind of too little, too late. Not for Booker, who's 28. He's just now creeping into his prime, but for Bradley, who's 31 in the prime of his career, starving for a championship right now. That's what he wants. That's why he went to Phoenix with 2 other superstar caliber players. I would love a backcourt of Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, just with a better defense surrounded by the 2. We would see Bradley's scoring increase. Therefore, he has averaged 30 points per game on 2 different occasions. So he is capable of being that kind of scorer for a franchise. And I think Devin Booker has only gotten better as a playmaker ever since adapting to the point guard position. So I am excited.
I was going to say question. Mentioning trying to, I guess, be a part of a super team. Is this whole super team shit over with, or
it's
over
making
with?
It harder for teams to build new CBA rules. So I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's over with. It's just making it more difficult. It could still happen, but it's just a pathway.
I was going to say, but at what point do you stop cutting your nose off to spite your face?
I
Trying
think. I
to build
mean,
these super teams.
I think it's like, hey, you got to be like really, really like smart to like how to build like a super team
A super
under
team.
under this time. Big. I mean, because you're still and really I wouldn't, and I don't think it's like a super team, but that's why I say it can still happen. But like I said, it's just harder. But I think I would say you're starting to see a shift now where it's like instead of having three superstar players or I should say like three all-star players rather, you're starting to see where teams are more balanced of how they're built. Like when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, for example, I mean, I guess the only superstar player they have is Donovan Mitchell, but when you look at
Mhm.
other guys, they're not considered. You could, because Jared Allen, he's an all-star. Um, Evan
Evan
Mobley,
Mobley.
a guy that could be an all-star, but I'm just saying that you just have better all-around players rather
Right.
than having like three superstars. So it's like, okay, you can have a superstar player, but then other guys, you just have guys that could be an all-star, but they're just more better all-around players instead of having like
Right.
all this star power. So that's what I mean
Mm-hmm.
by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
It's
I agree. I agree.
And to answer your question, like I think this thing, like this Phoenix Suns case, like showed that sometimes it really just doesn't work, and that sometimes the risk isn't worth the reward. To be quite honest, like with the money they spent, the draft capital they lost, it was just a failure at the end. Like they lost, they left. Like there was nothing positive that came out of this with the Phoenix Suns, literally at all. And I really think it's showing that the risk isn't worth the reward sometimes, and also sometimes you have to have the right players. This isn't 2K. You can't just put these dudes together and
That's
just
what it
pass the
felt like.
ball to them. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, like you can't
That's
just put these
exactly
dudes.
what it felt like. It's like, hey, this trade ain't gonna work. Override. Override
Yeah.
this trade right now.
For real. Seriously, it's like you're playing my.
Imagine if David Stern was here. Like, do you know
Oh
how
my
many
god, he would have shut down
trades
some.
do you know how many trades like he would veto? He vetoed Chris Paul going to the Lakers to pair with Kobe. And I'm just
Man,
like, whoa. So I'm just like, if he was still here, yeah, wow. Yeah, he would just like veto like almost every trade. Almost.
oh
It's
man,
crazy.
Mhm. It
Crazy
really is
work.
crazy to think about that sometimes, where Chris Paul was literally like this close to being another legendary Laker, bro. Yeah, man, and it's Wiley did mention it. We're talking about legacies this evening. Obviously, the most important player, the most legendary player on this Phoenix Suns team that we did just discuss is one Kevin Durant. He's one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, one of the greatest small forwards in the history of the National Basketball Association. Definitely top three, you could say, in my opinion. If I'm going off the dome right now, I'm going LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Larry Bird, Great White Hope. You feel me? I would definitely say Larry Bird. I know there's some people probably think Larry Bird is still the greatest small forward of all time, but I put Larry top three. He's definitely ahead of his time with his ability to play, make, shoot, and rebound. Really love 33, most definitely. But keeping it with KD, like Wiley did mention, a lot of people share the same sentiment as the man Wiley that he will get traded this summer, unfortunately. We saw what happened with OKC. They were knocking on the door of the NBA Finals again when they lost to the Golden State Warriors back in 2015. That was 2016 because that's when Cleveland came back. Back in 2016, they themselves were up 3-1 and they choked. They unfortunately lost. Golden State came back and beat them, and that's when everything went all downhill from there in terms of Kevin Durant's image, in my opinion. We saw him that summer, the infamous July 4th, 2016 tweet about my next chapter. We saw him go to Golden State, the team that beat them, of course, the team that won 73 games the year before he joined. And yeah, he did it with no shame. He was really happy to pair with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. He kept saying over and over and over in the media, he just finally wanted to play with some dudes he knew weren't selfish. On paper, it just, to me, you just can't defend it, honestly. Like, they were up on Golden State. They lost 3-1 after leading in the series. And, like, you went to the team that beat you. You literally, like Like he literally went to the team that beat you, you know, and then like they won 73 games the year before that. So obviously, I mean, Draymond Green told him that at like the NBA, like the championship parade. And even Bob Myers said the same thing, saying like they kept joking that we didn't need you and stuff like that. And KD, like he knew he was up out of there. Everyone, obviously, we all saw Draymond. Now it's alleged that Draymond called KD a B word on the during like their altercation on the sideline, and you even hear you see KD mouth like I'm done, after that, because they got into an argument on the sideline. Obviously, I think even on the inside, Draymond, when he was coming over there, like they themselves thought like, okay, we love to have you, but like they themselves know like that was kind of crazy with him jumping ship like that. Stephen A. Smith came out and said he thought it was the weakest move he had ever seen from an NBA superstar with all his years covering the league. Of course, he said that 9 years ago, and he still holds true to this day. He still feels that way. But of course, that's enough of me. Like I said, and of course, to finish the story, obviously we saw him go to Brooklyn. That whole thing fell apart with Kyrie Irving and like the COVID vaccination stuff like that. I get it. His foot was on the line. In the NBA playoffs, they could have easily advanced in that series, but they lost, unfortunately, because they is literally, if he has like a shorter foot, like they win. He made the shot, did everything he could, and they lost to the Bucks in that series, I believe. And yeah, man, I thought Phoenix was going to be a saving grace for him. I thought he was going to go to Phoenix and retire. He's going to have two superstar players who have been known to be nice guys on the court, be unselfish on the floor, and it just didn't work out. Like we just broke down for the people. So Wiley, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about the legacy of the legendary Kevin Durant, four-time scoring champion, one-time MVP? Obviously, he's a future Hall of Famer. There's no need to ask you that. But how do you think 20 years from now, because we've seen KD come out and be like, why can't I be mentioned in those conversations? Why can't I be considered an all-time great? He said that himself on numerous occasions. So obviously it does bother him. We've seen him fire back from burner accounts to fans on Twitter. And even now from his own account, to be quite honest, even his profile picture, it's the dude from Tangled with all the swords pointing at him, because he knows like, he doesn't care about what people have to say about him. He welcomes confrontation. He welcomes people who have something to say and he doesn't agree. So obviously he's felt really defensive in these past few years. He wasn't like this before the Golden State trade. It was just KD. You know, he was just a nice guy. He's still humble to this day. But his personality, it wasn't like this. So I feel like he definitely has felt slighted in the last few years, given the things like the acts he has committed, you know, jumping teams and stuff like that. So how do you feel about the legacy of Kevin Durant? And how do you think he'll be viewed when he retires?
Kevin Durant is going to be viewed as the ultimate hooper. Yeah, he's always going to receive shit for going to Golden State. But like I've said before, I looked at it no different than being at the gym. You've been getting your ass kicked all day, and you're on the sideline waiting for a game. The winning team, the team that's been winning, they lose one guy, they pick, you hop on that team and get you some dubs. No different. That was no different to me. I mean, his legacy's been sealed. Same with LeBron, same with Steph. Like, their legacy's been sealed. They could have retired years ago already, and they'd still be first ballot Hall of Famers. When you look at like his overall career, I mean, again, he's just been that ultimate hooper. He's done everything. He's won, he's won his championships. Like, there's nothing else left for him to do. Mm-mm. So for me, I will look at him as just the ultimate hooper that you would want on your team, straight up. Like, even to this day right now, like, if I'm a team, hey, I will definitely try and get Kevin Durant on my team if he wants to be on the team.
Mm-hmm. And even then, like, to rebuttal, because I'm gonna let you go in a minute, of course, Garrett, because of course I'm excited to hear what you have to say as well. you mentioned the gym example, like with everything going that went down in OKC like that. With like they were a powerhouse for years. They built that team from the ground up with Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, all those players that they had on the team. They had everything that they needed. Like they were great they were a great offensive team, great defensively. They had the chemistry, everything on the court needed to win an NBA title, including two superstars. To not like a superstar and a star. They had two bona fide superstars on the same team at the same time.
We didn't know about James Harden until after he left. Like we knew.
Oh, I meant Russell, Russell and KD. Even then, if they keep James Harden, like, I still feel.
Yeah, I put that strictly on OKC because they didn't want to pay the fucking luxury tax. Like that's a them problem, because I'm like, if you have a team like that where you've drafted Russ, KD, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka, and y'all just made it to the finals with that young team, like I'm building around it. Whatever money I gotta pay, I'll go ahead and bite the bullet if I can get a championship out of it.
I mean, even James Harden at the time was like 22 years old. You feel me? It's crazy to really think they all really. I mean, Harden was only there for 3 years. Like, it's crazy to like he literally left and became a superstar immediately. Obviously, saw what he did when he's playing for the Arizona State Sun Devils. He was the 3rd pick. Harden came out in 2009. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it might have been. It was either 2008 or 2009. But I know Harden's been in the league for obviously an extremely long time. And to see him become a superstar like immediately like that was just really cool. Not to get sidetracked, of course, because I do want to hear what Garrett has to say. But I just wanted to end on the whole KD thing. I only wanted to rebuttal because and of course I'm waiting for the James Harden confirmation as well. But yeah, like for me, 09, I thought so. Yeah, most definitely. Great player in college as well. And see, the thing is, for me, like, that's just indefensible. I said it back when it happened. I was in high school when that went down, and I still feel the same way as a grown man. You know, I really felt like you really shouldn't have done that. I mean, you could have went to any other team that, but you went to the team that beat you. For the longest, I thought he was going to the Celtics or the Knicks maybe back then. Just one of those teams, like obviously like they were good in that era, 14, 15, stuff like that. But for me personally, I just thought, like, man, like, where's your honor? Like, where's your, because I was going to say, where's your integrity? Like, I don't want to, try him as a human being or anything like that. It's basketball at the end of the day, obviously. But there's principles, morals, and in the sport, like, I get it. It's just basketball. But when it's on the world stage like this, when there's millions of dollars involved, these dudes are at the heart of the sport, being Hall of Famers. Yeah, there's role players and stuff but these are going to be the guys that are going to be remembered at the end of the day, So for me, I just thought KD, like, he knew what he was doing when he signed that contract. That's all I'm going to say. Like, you were this close to beating those dudes. You were one win away from the finals. The fact he didn't really take accountability in that one. I remember that game 6, him and Russell were chucking up shots near the end of the game. At the top of the shot clock, like, just trying to close the game out, and like Golden State came back and beat them. That was the emergence of the legendary Stephen Curry, who we know now. Of course, they won a ring before that back in 2015, but that was when he was truly Chef Curry. Of course, he hit 12 threes the other night, not like he's missed a step, but that's when he was in his abs, so he can shoot from half court, no problem, and you have to guard him out there. So for me, it really hurt to see KD make that move. I'll be quite honest with you. And I feel like he knows that himself. That definitely hurt his legacy. But Garrett, I would love to hear what you would love to have to say about Kevin Durant's legacy, and like, how did that trade really affect his move, his legacy when he went to Golden State? And like, do you think there's any way he can salvage his legacy? Like, if he were to win a championship on another team before he call it a day, obviously that's what he went to Phoenix for. So can he save his legacy? Like, is there anything wrong with his legacy? And how do you think his legacy will be viewed when he retires?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily something that he has to do to save his legacy per se, not in a negative way. To the point about him leaving OKC to go join Steph and Clay and Draymond and Golden State and win 2 championships off of that during his tenure there. Of course, people are going to remember that as a stain on his legacy because of the fact that, to Wiley's point, you went to the team that beat you, and Stephen A. Smith, and shout out to Stephen A. Smith on his new contract on First Take, 5 years, $100 million contract. Very happy for him.
To
But
talk.
he exactly, he did mention that that was the weakest move, not only to him, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say that a superstar has ever made, where you go to a team that beat you, right? So you don't really see stuff like that happen. But I mean, and I guess my take on that particular point is the fact of the matter is that I mean they won 73 games, and I guess people like to see competition instead of seeing things happen so easily. Where okay, you get to the finals and you go up against a team like Cleveland, for example. You know, Golden State has way more firepower than the other team. It's kind of like 2K, kind of where you change the difficulty to where it's like super easy, where it's like, okay, this is not even like a fair game. I'm just going out having fun, and just it's really just like a shootout. It's just like, bro, like come on now, like make it more entertaining. So I guess I understand where people come from on that end, but the fact of the matter is that look, even before, like, say if KD didn't go to Golden State, say if he did stay um in OKC, keep in mind that KD is a top 10 scorer in the of all time. I mean, he's ranked eighth in career points total. He's a 15-time All-Star, former MVP, and a two-time champion. So, and of course, those championships came from Golden State. But I'm just saying, even if he didn't win those championships, and say he didn't win a championship at all, I
Uh-huh.
mean, he's still one of the best players this league has ever seen. I mean, he's a top NBA 75 player. Now, of course, there are a couple of players that I felt like should have made it, but that's another conversation. But no
Yes.
doubt, Kevin Durant is definitely one of those players that should be there for sure, and they did. So that's definitely great. So I'm just saying that, and I think that when you talk about certain players that are going to be future Hall of Famers and players that are one of the best of all time, of course, there's going to be something that people are going to like nitpick on and say, "Oh, wow, I didn't like it when he did this move or that move or this and that." There's always going to be something that people just don't like about a player that's
LeBron.
one of the best of all time. LeBron is definitely one of them. But I mean, that's just part of the game. I mean, it's sports. People are going to talk about these type of things. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying overall, despite him going to Golden State, I think that his legacy is still a wonderful achievement for all that he's done. So I don't think there's anything bad on his end. So I think it would be nice to see him win a championship before he calls it a career. That's why I say a team like the Mavericks or potentially the Spurs or maybe the Lakers. Those are teams that he could possibly win a championship, but I'm just saying that's why I say I think the Mavericks would be the best one because even though that they're stockpiled with a lot of injuries at the moment. But I think with that team being fully healthy, and then you add a Kevin Durant to that mix, you could definitely win a championship, or I should say, contend for a championship at the very least. But no, I think Kevin Durant, he deserves all the credit that he's been given. Uh, like I said, I don't think the Golden State move sways me from feeling that way. Like everything I'm saying now, even if he didn't go to Golden State and win those championships, I still feel the same way. But yeah, I just think to the point that I made is that you're going to hear these type of things about players, about certain moves that they made, because we can sit here and say, and I'm not really saying both are the same because they're kind of different. It's
Mhm.
kind of where, okay, we saw KD go to a team that beat him and join Golden State, but people seem to forget that LeBron decided to leave Cleveland to go join D Wade and Chris Bosh and
I tried
win
not to
a
bring
couple
that
championships off of that.
up.
So
Right.
I feel like those stories are kind of similar, even though that LeBron didn't go to a team that he lost to.
And
Right.
won
But the fact that, but the fact,
73
but
games.
but the fact of the matter is that you took the easier path per se. Because even for me, like
Mhm.
I'm not a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, but during that time, I'm saying to myself, okay, like LeBron, you can do this, bro. You can win. I mean, you can win a championship with this team. You probably need to add, I don't know, another player or a couple of more guys that could produce more. But I mean, you're right there. So there's, I mean, I get it that you want to win, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying LeBron was wrong for doing that. I'm just saying that I think he could have waited out a little bit longer. I felt like he was right there, but I'm just saying
And Cleveland
it's just
wasn't
like,
doing him no favors either.
yeah, it's just like I think fans are having an issue where as great of a player as you are, and this is why I keep referring to KD going to Golden State. As great of a player as you are,
Hmm.
you don't need all this talent behind you to win a championship. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and that's where we talked about earlier about the NBA changing the CBA rules because they don't want to make this like the highlight of the NBA. Like this is what it's all about. Like, okay, if the NBA is about competition, like real competition, then you shouldn't see all these super teams being built, left and right. You want to see your like real competition. So, but like I said, I think Kevin Durant, like I said, regardless of his decisions, he's still going to be named one of the best players of all time. And that's just the bottom line. And like I said, whatever he does with these last few years that he has in his career, it's definitely going to be a great one. So I tip my hat off to KD. So yeah, he's had one hell of a career. I applaud him for that.
Oh yeah.
And might I add, like I'm not trying to be like a hater and nothing like that, but he has not found any success whatsoever ever since leaving Golden State. I'm trying to
That
think
I
ain't
like
will
getting
say
handed up. That
now I will say this though, and I'm not sure if I've ever said this live, period, but I think KD should have at least won one championship with the
without
Nets.
them.
I think that they had the perfect formula. That team was set up to win a championship, but obviously it never worked out. But yeah, I think if Kevin Durant was never going to win a championship in Golden State, but I'm just saying outside of that, I think he should have won a championship with Brooklyn. That was literally one team that I wanted to see win a championship, but of course it didn't happen. But yeah, so we'll see what happens next.
And
uh,
yeah, man. Go ahead,
I was
Wiley.
gonna say, I just had a question. Do you think like AAU basketball is kind of plays a role into a lot of these players that like to team up? Because when you think about it, a lot of these players that play AAU ball, they're playing with
Together.
each other.
Right.
So
Yeah.
do you think AAU ball has kind of somewhat ushered this type of wanting to team up in the league?
I could see why. I definitely think it has to role of play. Like, why not play with someone you already have great chemistry with? You're already comfortable. You're already comfortable with each other on the floor. Like, you already know like each other's strengths and weaknesses. Of course, you would have improved by then, but you still have the chemistry to fall back on while you guys acclimate to each other's play styles. And like for me, man, again with the whole KD thing, like it's just, man, it just sounds really bad on paper. Years from now, when we're talking about it, when he's not playing anymore, it's still going to sound really, really bad on paper, especially if he's not able to win a championship after that whole era. He said himself, I like he doesn't want to go back to Golden State. I thought he would eventually. Not like just like they were in a pretty good position at the time. Obviously, they're looking pretty good right now with Jimmy Butler now. So, but yeah, like, even just to end on KD, I love Kevin Durant. I'm watching him play since since Texas, you feel me, where he was averaging over 25 in college, you feel me? So he's literally
Said National Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, he's been like this. He's literally been like this since high school, middle school, and ever since he picked up a basketball. He has literally been like this. His infatuation with basketball is one of the major reasons why he continues to play at a high level, even for suffering an Achilles injury, like how he did. I don't know if he'll be like LeBron playing like at 40 and stuff like that. I think he has the basketball IQ. His athleticism hasn't dwindled that much, and he's still a pretty good shooter from the field. So, again, like I do think it hurt his legacy. Some people don't care about it. Some people just care about the hooping. They just want to see him win and stuff like that. It's just, again, on paper, it was, it just sounds really, really, really bad. Especially, when they won 73 games, you were about to beat that same team that you joined. And then like that, you have to turn around and defeat your old team with a team. Like, that's like a movie. It was literally, imagine how Russell Westbrook really, like, they gave Westbrook the MVP as a 6th seed in the Western. God, granted, he was averaging a triple-double, like Oscar Robertson and all that. He was playing phenomenal, you feel me? But, like, a 6th seed, almost a 7th, 8th seed in the West. Like, that man won MVP, and they gave it to him the next year after KD. Like, everyone knew, like, what the situation was. They gave Russell Westbrook, I forget, has a most valuable player award off that. It's just because, of course, they didn't make a deep playoff run or anything with it. He just happened to just win the award as he deserved to, staying with his team. And number 0 is most definitely getting retired by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that actually goes to my last question before we move on to our last and final topic of the evening. I'm actually really excited about this last topic too. Do you think Kevin Durant gets a jersey retirement from the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors, if you could say? You can go first, Wiley.
OKC, yes. Golden State, no.
Why about Golden State? Like, they won, like, those 2 rings. Those Larry O'Briens are in there forever in that trophy case. Like, I think they would raise number 30. KD, like, KD, he was winning Finals MVP, taking it from Steph. Like,
I'm just saying that.
He's waiting to use that.
It was really timing out. That was just perfect, man.
He was waiting to use that.
I love KD to death, but
well done.
Yes, he was part of that reason why they won. He was one of the main reasons as to why they won those championships.
He took both Finals MVPs.
But if he had stayed longer, then we have a discussion. But I don't think he gets that jersey. Excuse me, words are hard. Jersey retirement. Like they gave Iggy. I understand why they gave Andre Iguodala a jersey retirement, because he came to Golden State when Golden State seemed to be somewhat at their lowest at the time, and they were still trying to figure it out with Steph, Clay, and Draymond. And then he shows up, and everything works out. Everything just works out. And of course, when you have other players that talk about Iggy, he's the consummate pro. He's the teammate that you would want on your team. So I get why. I completely understand why they retired Andre's jersey, but when it comes to KD, I just don't see it.
Garrett?
Wiley made a good point there. I mean, I guess I'm always the one that not saying Wiley saying anything negative, but more so just saying more of a better outcome. Because I mean, just like Wiley just made a case as to why Golden State may not give him a jersey retirement, but I can sit here and make a case as to why they could. To some effect, to your point, Twan, that he did help bring 2 championships, and he was the Finals MVP. Now, if you just take that, I mean, and he was only there for a short stint. I mean, it wasn't like he was there for 5 years or whatever. I mean, he's only there for a short stint and bounced it up out of there. So I think they could, but I have to agree with Wiley on this one. I just don't think that it's quite enough to give him a jersey retirement, because we've had this discussion with Jimmy Butler. I mean, yes, he led Miami to 2 finals appearances, and even though that they didn't win those finals appearances, one against the Lakers and one with Denver. But I guess I mean obviously that's a less talented team compared to a team with KD and Golden State. So that's why I say and Jimmy, he's been there for a good minute too. So I could see a jersey retirement happening for Jimmy in Miami that I could see with one with KD and Golden State. Now, obviously for Kevin Durant getting a jersey retirement in OKC, I could definitely see that for sure
Oh yeah.
because you could say that's where he's had his best years throughout his entire career. Again, you could throw in Golden State because he won two, both of the championships there, but obviously that's where he received most of his All Star voting or All Star appearances. Excuse me. That was the team that he won, MVP. So and like I said, he's been there for majority of his career. But I mean, hey,
Do you think they're still bitter about his departure from Oklahoma City?
you're talking about Golden State or OKC?
KD, do you think OKC, like the owners, like the actual dudes that matter up in the front office, do you think they still have a bitter taste in their mouths when they hear the name Kevin Durant?
I think it remains to be seen because I have them as one of the teams that will go after Kevin Durant.
Really?
That could be now that could be possible too because I mean
A redemption arc?
because because look, let's just be real, and this is why I keep bringing up. This is why I often bring up OKC as a trade partner for any star or superstar player out on the market because they literally have the ammunition. I mean, they have everything that a team will want. You want young
And draft
players.
capital.
You want young players. We got it. You want draft picks. We got it. You want to combine them. We got it. It's like what else you need? But I think just to piggyback off of that, I mean, I'm pretty sure they felt some type of way about it. I mean, a lot of fans did. I mean, it's that's why I say it's similar to when LeBron left to
Cleveland.
join,
Oh
to
God.
join Miami. A lot of people. I mean, you saw fans burning his jersey and stuff, but I
I,
mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in OKC organization felt some type of way about it because even at that moment, I mean they were right there. So they were about to make it to the finals and like to Twan's point, I mean they were up 3-1. So but no, I think that even though there may people may have some feelings about that, but at the same time, we fans are never going to forget what Kevin Durant, meant for them when he was on that team, what he meant to the fans and organization. They're not going to forget that. They're not going to forget, like, hey, once upon a time they went to the finals with KD and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. So and all the blood and sweat and tears that he put into that organization. That's why I mentioned like, hey, he won MVP with OKC. So they're not just going to forget that. So I don't think that a move where you left OKC to go Golden State, I don't think that move like outweighs all of the accolades that he's achieved within that organization. And I
right.
think that to your point, right? Because I really didn't think of it. I think that's a dark horse landing spot that he could go back
I got a different
to
dark horse.
OKC. I mean, it's like okay, you start your career. I mean, you start your career in Seattle, but then they moved to OKC. Now it'd be nice for him to potentially end his career in OKC and could potentially win a championship because OKC is the best team in the West right now, and they are a legitimate championship team in my opinion. So they add a player like KD. Hey, you're definitely cooking with grease there. But
Oh yeah.
just say this too. I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it may not be a bad idea if he decides, you know what, I just want to play basketball. Now, obviously, he doesn't have control of what team he could be traded to,
Mm-hmm.
but but I mean, who knows? But I think it would be nice. And like I said, I'm not saying that it would happen or it should, but it'd be nice for him to play back home in his hometown in Washington possibly go to the Wizards. But I'm just saying if he gets to play ball though.
Nah, you're good, bro. I mean, hey, he's from there, you know.
No, I get it, but the Wizard, hey, we know what the Wizards
I
are.
get it, but I mean, hey, they
I
changed
no,
their mind,
I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, man.
But no,
I know
the Wizards have never
they-
won 50 games in my lifetime.
yeah, it's not happening. More than likely. But I mean, hey, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Again, obviously, we could talk about it all night. It really is a very polarizing discussion. It's going to be discussed until the end of time. Obviously, it was one of the biggest moves in the NBA history, in my opinion. Seeing him go to one of the greatest players went to one of the greatest teams of all time. In a trade after almost defeating them in a playoff series in the Western Conference Finals to go to the NBA Finals. But of course, when I wish Kevin Durant nothing but the best. We'll see where he goes this summer. I think the season's over for Phoenix, regardless of whatever happens. Even if they make the play and they won't go far in the playoffs. And that's it. I think he just really should just enjoy the rest of his career. You got what you wanted, man. You got what you wanted. Like, you made that trade, you won your rings. Now you just got to deal with any ridicule that comes after that. You feel me? There's no hole in his resume. Only thing he never got was like the defensive player of the year. You know, and like not everybody can be honest when an MVP ring.
I don't think he's worried about the ridicule though. Like
for sure.
That's the type of person that you have to be as you get older. Like you learn that after a while. It's just like, yo, especially with social media, it's people talking. Some people, we are fans. Fans are short for fanatics. Like some people take it overboard. Some people like us, we will give, we try and give a take to where it doesn't, where we're not sounding like an asshole. But I mean, also, we're human, so we gonna say what we gotta say. But I just like how KD after getting caught with that burner account, he just owned it after that. It was like,
I mean, man, like that, you can't. Like that was, I mean, yo, you're just saying it out loud. It's kind of crazy. He's human. He's human at the end of the day, and I get it. He's human, man. He in his opinion, he feels like these dudes don't owe him. Like he owes these dudes nothing. Like you've never been on my level with basketball. Like what opinion can you give me? What advice can you give me? You can't give me nothing. I choose to respond to you. Like KD's a millionaire. He could be a billionaire if he wanted to off his merchandise. If you really want to drop more shoes, share stuff like that. So, for sure,
just retro shoes at this point. Retro,
yeah, the KDs most definitely, and yeah, man. Like I was just saying the ridicule because like it won't be us, it won't be the people on the outside looking in. It'll be the legends saying that. Imagine how Kobe would have felt. Like I'm pretty sure Kobe felt pretty strongly about that. He just like from the sideline, maybe like if you would have asked him, how do you feel about him? Because Kobe was a Laker. Like he went to the highs and the lows, man. Like Kobe Bryant.
Kobe's he was cut from a different cloth compared to a 99% of the league. Like,
yeah, that's different. Kobe was a different beast.
Yeah,
that's like totally different.
And that's what I mean, like, because he keeps saying, why can't I be in those conversations? He knows these dudes, like, man, Charles Barkley tried it. Charles Barkley was in Phoenix himself.
He's just not going to get that same respect.
He's just
not. I mean, there's no bad blood, no ill. It's just
not at all.
That's Kobe Bryant. I mean,
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm just saying, like, those legends of the game, though, like those dudes, I think like they wouldn't like Michael Jordan. It's like, bro.
I think. Well, we never hear shit from Jordan, no way. So
even Larry Bird didn't leave Boston. Even Larry Bird didn't leave Boston. You feel me? Even David Robinson didn't leave in San Antonio.
Okay,
you feel me?
Larry's back.
He's hurt and stuff. Absolutely.
Larry's back made it to where he couldn't leave Boston.
But I don't think he would have left, man. He wouldn't have left.
I don't think he would have. You're right. I don't think he would have left. But I'm just saying, like, Larry's back kept him in Boston to the point where he had to go ahead and retire. But yeah, David
Isaiah Thomas.
We have those We have the, but also again, when you look at the league back then, like that competition, like it was built like, I'm trying not to sound like super overhead here.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good.
I see you got your weed retwist. You're trying to look younger. I see what you're trying to do there.
Nah,
It's all good, man.
but it's just so growing up watching that, like it looked like teams did not like each other. It just had that feel, regardless of what they did outside of the game. It just had that feel of when you saw two teams go head to head, especially teams like the Bulls and the Pistons. Like we knew they didn't like each other. Miami and New York. They out there fist fighting on the court. Like again, and that's we didn't have that. We didn't have all the access that we had. But when you look at the players that you mentioned, like their thought process is, hey, this team drafted me. I'm going to give this team my all until one, I get to retire, or I get to call it quits on my own, or two, they trade me and go somewhere else. It wasn't necessarily them saying, hey, I want to be traded, except for a handful, your handfuls here and there. But for the most part, teams traded you because, okay, we see that your production is not working for us here. We're about to go ahead and get rid of you. It wasn't the fact of, oh, hey, I want to trade just because I want to go play with such and such.
Mm-hmm. Nah, man, like you're right about it. Like, hey, man, like even to end on it, because of course we have a final topic we have to get to for the viewers, of course. Nah, man, I enjoyed this. This is great. I love the KD conversation, even in barbershops. Whenever I'm with my homies, I love talking about this. Like I said, he's some people's favorite player, so they will forever defend Kevin Durant. Obviously, like I say, he's a future Hall of Famer. Nothing will ever take any of his accolades away from him. And yeah, one of the greatest players to ever do it, like how we said. But moving on to our last topic, I'm actually really excited about this one as well. Really interested to see what these boys have to say. Especially you, Wiley, because you actually, like you saw the expansions take place and stuff like that. Not like, I mean, hey, man, it's not like you're here for the ABA merger and like stuff like that. You feel me? It's like you're here for that. You feel me? I'm just saying, you saw like when they had Seattle, like they went to Oklahoma. Like you saw, like I never got to see the Vancouver Grizzlies. Like you saw Vancouver when they were a team. Of course, you feel me? So I wanted to ask you first, Wiley, and then you, of course, Garrett. You can give me one city or multiple cities, just any city you think deserve the team and would actually do good with the team, like financially wise, like the city actually loves basketball, and like what's a real head scratcher as to why they don't have a team already?
Seattle. Seattle, bring back the Sonics. Been yelling this shit for years. Bring back the Sonics. Why did they take away the Seattle Supersonics? I do not know. Bring them back. That Seattle's a dope place. Like you still have the WNBA, the Seattle Storm. You still have the Storm there. So bring back the Sonics. It's already laid out. The city will welcome back that NBA team with open arms. I used to live out in Washington State when I was in the military, and being out in Seattle, they are some hoop heads out there when it comes to basketball. Of course, you got the Seahawks. You have
Kraken,
the Kraken now. Like that's all that's missing. That's all that's missing is the Supersonics. So bring them back. Like that's just like a no-brainer. And if the NBA is to expand and Seattle does not get a team, we need to riot. We need to riot as a people, as fans. We need to riot.
Who would you like to see get a team, Garrett? 50 states. It's only 30 teams, so pretty sure we could get some more.
Yeah, I was going to mention Seattle. Well, Seattle was one of the teams I was wanting to mention, but one team that people have talked about for a good minute is Vegas. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think with Vegas, I mean, in terms of I think when you talk about a city that you want to add an NBA team to, I think it's just more so kind of like popularity. It's like, okay, would be a city where, hey, I mean, this would bring, like, this would take the NBA to another level if we put a basketball team in this state. And so for me with Vegas, is I think this team could maybe not in the and I mean it could, just depends on how it turns out. But I'm just saying from the get go, I don't think it would turn out to be this way. But maybe in the near future, if it actually happens, this team literally could be a hot landing spot for players to sign. I mean, when you talk about free agent signings or superstar players getting traded or whatever, you always hear high marketed cities like, Los Angeles or New York or Miami or like Houston or Dallas. So we talk about Vegas. I mean, you have the Raiders. That was the team that was in Oakland in
Aces.
California, yeah, and now they're in Vegas, and their stadium is pretty nice because I went to Vegas last year in the summertime. So it's just like, okay, you have to, like to Twan's point, you have the Aces in WNBA, you have the Raiders in the NFL. Why not have a NBA team? And if I recall, I know that some players have talked about being part of the ownership group of building an NBA team in Vegas, and I think LeBron may have been one of
LeBron's
them.
one of yes.
Yeah, but I think for LeBron, that would be very nice for him to do. If obviously he may not do that right now, but when he retires, I think that would be great to bring a team to Vegas. But I mean, like I said, that would be very, very nice if they're
I
able
want to
to
help
do
you
that.
out. I want to help you out real quick. Also, Vegas Golden Knights hockey team.
Yep.
So I was out in Vegas for my birthday last year, and if nobody has been paying attention, they're already building out there because they have taken away. I think it is Tropicana, and they're about to build a baseball field. So
Mm.
the MLB
Wow.
team is coming out there. So to help
Vegas.
your case, Garrett,
Oh well, then it's pretty much a wrap. Then it's pretty much a
to
wrap.
help
I
your
mean,
case,
if you're gonna do that, then okay,
right?
gotcha.
So to help
Yeah,
your case out, Vegas will be a good spot. But
yeah,
also,
that'd be tight. That'd
also
be tight.
now we have to worry about the gambling portion of this whole thing.
I mean,
Terry, look, Terry Rozier, I'm talking to
it's
you, brother.
like, it's like, that's not going to stop though, and I
No,
think
no,
that's
no. I'm just
why it's
look,
like, yeah,
Terry
because
Rozier,
it's
I'm
like,
talking to you, brother.
no, you don't have to worry about me gambling now because I don't even gamble like that, to be honest
No,
with
I'm
you.
just talking about. I'm just messing with Terry Rozier. You know, he was under investigation in that game.
Oh yeah,
That game
yeah,
that
yeah,
they showed
yeah.
last night. I was like, oh, he is
Man,
out
y'all
here
just doing
throwing
too
these.
much now. Y'all doing too much. But no, I think for Vegas, like I said, it's it's a hot spot, one of the most popular cities you can visit, throughout the entire country. Like I said, you have Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Texas, things like that. So for a team to be in Vegas, I mean, you almost there. You pretty much have everything, kind of.
Mhm.
You have the WNBA team with the Aces, and like I said, the Raiders. So, and to Wiley's point, they have a baseball team they're putting together. So you might as well add NBA team. And like I said, the popularity of Vegas is crazy. So yeah, that would just like be like the cherry on top if they're able to pull that off. And I think they would, because I think Adam Silver has talked about expanding the NBA already. So I think Vegas is definitely at top of their list. And if not, it should.
Mhm. Yeah, man. If I had to give mine, just to give some cities, I guess where we close out the show, I've always wanted to see Kentucky get a team. Obviously, we know the rich basketball history they have with the University of Kentucky, the Wildcats. That's like
Whoa,
their it. Hmm.
whoa. Because if they bring an NBA team here, it's gonna be here in Louisville. Ain't nothing out in damn Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing out there. But
Now, Wiley, I don't know, you may contest this too. I wasn't going to say anything, but I might as well say it now. So since Twan was going to mention Kentucky,
uh-huh.
and the only reason why I say it because I mean, okay, let me just say it. I was going to mention Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
but we all know that Alabama is not a large city. It's small or yeah, it's small,
I was
but
gonna say your biggest city is either going to be Montgomery
right.
or Huntsville.
Right, but
Montgomery
it's
could
just
have a
like,
team.
but really, it's a football town because you have
Yes.
Alabama. So it's just like, okay, that could be an option too,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, if the NBA is just trying to start off small, expanding, see how it works, possibly, then they could build a team out in Alabama because we all know how the fans get down when it comes to college football. So I think fans, will show up for an NBA team too. But I mean,
Yeah, but
that's the only reason why I thought of that too. But
I mean that sounds great, but also I'm sure NBA players ain't trying to move to Alabama. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean,
it's
don't get me wrong. I mean, there are nice parts in Alabama,
oh
but to
yeah,
your
absolutely.
point,
Come on now.
but to your point, yeah, I don't think it would be like a place like, yeah, I really want to go.
Yeah.
Definitely
Like they would
Vegas.
literally have to
Vegas,
build.
no, number one is on top of my list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I
and to your point, Antwane,
mm-hmm.
they did have the Kentucky Colonels. There we go. But go ahead. I wanted to add
Oh
that
no,
part.
you're fine. Mm-hmm. Nah, you're good. I appreciate you, man. I didn't know that Kentucky Colonels, but I'm gonna look more into it. Yeah, I've just always thought like they definitely deserve a team. I appreciate your insight about the state of Kentucky. I've never been, unfortunately. So it's cool to know like they'd be out in Louisville. They'd be like the Louisville Lions, like you never know what they would be, Like it would just be really cool to see them finally get a team. Kansas City as well. I also have Kansas City on my list of teams. They do have the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously a very popular NFL team, but I do think that Kansas City, or more so St. Louis, that area with St. Louis, obviously used to have a team with St. Louis Hawks, now the Atlanta Hawks, of course. I really appreciate y'all for that. And I do think that St. Louis could definitely have a team, absolutely. In my last place, which I'm kind of surprised they don't, because like we've seen California have 4 teams with the Kings, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Lakers. Texas has 30 teams with the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Mavericks. I'm surprised that New York does not have a team. In Buffalo, I think Buffalo, New York could definitely have an NBA team. Absolutely, I get it. It's cold out there. It's always snowing. It's stuff like that. But see, it's funny you say that. 'Cause I have a friend that lives in New Jersey. Now, hold on, not like for
It
real.
may not be a bad idea though. It may
I
not be
have
a
a
bad
friend that
idea.
lives in because like for me, it's like okay, think about all those dudes in Brooklyn, right? Before 2012, like 2011, when that whole thing went down. Like imagine how they felt when when they were forced to rep the Knicks like that. Everyone in New York was just forced to rep the Knicks like that. There's some people that loved when the Brooklyn Nets came to town, knowing they don't gotta hop on the train and head from Brooklyn to Manhattan to have a team like that. Buffalo is like 6 hours from Manhattan. You feel me? Like fans in Buffalo just can't like go see a team. I'm not saying that like I'm not trying to campaign for it like that, but I'm just saying I'm kind of shocked that like it's upstate New York.
I'll say
They
this
have a
though.
lot of
I mean,
people.
I'll say this. I mean, I'll let Wiley, speak his piece. That may not be. It's not an awful idea, but even now that I think about it, it's just like okay, in New York, you have the Knicks and the Nets,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you talk about the the NFL, you have the
Giants
New York Giants,
and
then you have
Jets
the Jets,
and the
and then you have the
Bills.
Buffalo Bills, and then when you talk about the MLB, you have the Yankees,
And the
And,
I
Mets.
know then the
and the
Mets,
Mets.
and I think that's
They're like
only
down the
2 of
street
them.
from each other.
Yeah, but I
They're,
mean,
they're a train ride away.
yeah. To my point, is like okay, it's not a bad idea, but I just think like, okay, if you're going to build a team out in that area, I think people will be more inclined to bring a team back to New Jersey because you
Mm-hmm.
had the Nets there. That's where they originated. So I think
Mm-hmm.
they may want to, because like, okay, you move the Nets to Brooklyn, okay, start a new team in New Jersey. But that's why I say it's not a bad idea. But I mean, it's just like there's so many teams out in the actual New York area. So it's like people may want to like spread that out a little bit. So that's why I say start a new team in New Jersey. Because I mean, we've seen, a lot of, great players that play, in New Jersey,
Mhm.
Jason Kidd and
Dr.
Vince
J.
Carter, just name a couple. So I mean it's like, hey, just start a new team in New Jersey. But to your point, Juan, I mean that's not a bad idea if they decide to do that either. But
Mm-hmm.
but why you can make your point on that though.
So I agree with you with New Jersey. Buffalo, absolutely not.
I just don't like it's upstate New York. There's
No,
there's such a big population. They love basketball. They're still New
But
York.
not but not but, but not but not only
there's
that though, it's like the snow up there too. That's the
right.
thing.
That's why I was like,
I mean,
there's so
even
far,
Toronto, I think Canada. I mean, they were in Vancouver at one point.
but
Like,
they're so far up north. They're so far up north to the point where it's like it doesn't make sense, and you have to think about fans. Will fans travel there? I don't see a lot of fans traveling to Buffalo to go watch
Well, I
games.
mean, when it comes to like Green Bay and the Buffalo Bills, I mean, fans do show up, so they
So
may
so
do the
here's
same. They may
so
do the
here's the thing
same
about
thing.
that the whole football weather. Yes, I'm throwing that shit in air quotes. The whole football weather is the only thing that makes that whole Buffalo and Green Bay experience what it is because of so-called football weather. Hey, ain't playing in below freezing temperatures ain't no damn football weather. Don't. All right, I'm about to.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
He
Look.
get a little
No, you're
riled
fine.
up.
Go ahead, man. Go
Right.
off, bro. Go off, man.
I hate that. I hate that whole notion. That's not football weather. But anyways, but no, so from an NBA standpoint, I look at like you said with New Jersey, it makes sense because now you have that close prox. All of that is in close proximity. So you have, like you said, you have New York,
In Philly
you
too.
have Brooklyn. Yeah, you have New York, you have Brooklyn, and then you would have New Jersey. So all that makes sense. And like you said, yes, in Philly as well. All of that makes sense. Fans will travel into that portion of it. Now, the further north you go up, it's as long as you're in the States, it's a little rough. The only reason why Vancouver and Toronto work because they're in Canada. As you can see, Vancouver ended up having to move,
To Memphis.
but we still have Toronto. So you still have, and of course people love, everybody that talks about Toronto, they love Toronto. So I get why.
Now I was gonna ask this though, since
Uh-huh.
since there's a team out in Canada for Toronto Raptors,
Mhm.
would y'all be opposed to see a team in Mexico? So you got
Mexico.
one up there.
That's another one.
Now,
That's
how about
another one.
having a team down that way?
Mhm. That's another one. That's really lucrative as well. I
How would
100%
you make
believe
that work? That's
there's
the
basketball fans in Mexico, man.
Oh, no. And I'm
1,000%.
just, but you, so
Just a thought.
no, and I'm not necessarily opposed to it. It's just more so, how do you make that work? How do you make that work for the players?
You can go to New Mexico. You can go to New Mexico. I mean, you go to Albuquerque. For real, you go to Albuquerque, most definitely. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, crossing the border, that's one thing. Like, really going
That's gonna be
to.
the other part too. Like, okay, I live in New Mexico, but I hoop in I get what, Mexico City.
You can say that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Like how far is that distance? Because I'm
it
like,
could be like Tijuana. Like, yo, Tijuana is right by California. It's
you know how
literally
much
on the
work they
border.
would have to do to even build that up. Like, who's gonna pay for that?
But the money
Yeah,
they would make
that's
back,
a
it's
lot
like,
to go into. Yeah.
but it's the representation too. There's money in that, man. Like, there's so much
Yeah,
money in
I'm
Buffalo.
I'm not saying there's not money in it. It's just more so. That's just coming from the business side of it. It's like, all right, who's gonna pay for all this shit? Because that's
I
what
think they
that's what it's gonna boil down to.
I
I think
mean,
they
because
do
it's
it,
like
man.
it sounds good,
Mm-hmm.
when you think of the idea, but then it's like, okay, when you actually
Until you
like
start,
go like step
yeah.
by step, like when you write the actual plan, it's just like, this may not even actually work. So it's
But
gonna be hard, but
all right, okay. Even trying to think of other ones, because I mean, I still stand by like the Buffalo thing. I really do feel like there's a lot of fans up there who've just never been to an NBA game. They just never. I
And they
mean,
did
like
have
they're dying.
they
Hmm?
did have damn what was it? Buffalo. What was
Because
the
I'm
game?
trying. Yeah, the Buffalo Braves. The
Yeah,
Braves.
there
Yeah,
we
with
go.
Bob
Yep.
McAdoo.
Buffalo.
Bob
Yeah.
McAdoo. Yes, they did. So
So
they've
they
been
did.
up. Mm-hmm.
So
They go ahead.
no, I'm saying so. I'm like, yeah, they did have a team in Buffalo. I just look at it from today's standpoint, and just like, are people really going to travel to Buffalo to go watch this game?
I
I don't
think
think.
they would. Because I mean, like I said, I mean they do it for the Bills, and I mean, and last time yeah, because the Bills have an open stadium, so people are
Right,
sitting,
that's what I'm saying.
so I mean,
Again,
like in the NBA, I mean, there's gonna be a closed, arena, so it's not like they
Mhm.
gotta like watch the game through all that. So I'm just saying, okay, if you're going to go to a Bills game when it's snowing and windy and all that, then I'm pretty sure they would do the same thing
well, people are
for
some
a
people
team
aren't
like the
smart.
Bills. But
It's just for me, like you're gonna have 3 teams in Texas, but not 3 teams in New York. Like that's all. Like all of upstate New York just has no team. It's just the inner city. They could have a team in the Bronx and all that if they wanted to. Like they have Yankee Stadium in the
but
Bronx. You
but
feel me?
I mean, come on, like look, it's
Not
New
saying
York.
they should. Not Buffalo.
No, I'm just saying like them New Yorkers, like it could be like -20 or whatever. They're not phased
that
by it.
too. They're used to that
Me,
up there, right?
like bro, I can't.
Yeah, that's just
I'm
like
not
all
used
right.
to
That's
this.
just like let's
I'm
say
not used
they
to this, bro.
let's say they
They,
that they bring a team back to Buffalo and the Hawks got to play Buffalo. Y'all rolling?
man,
No, I mean like in a
I'm
away
watching
game like
right here.
that.
I'm watching right here, bro. I'm watching right here. Either here or I'll be in the Bronx with my cousin and my aunt.
like
See,
like
I'm not no
But
sir.
no, like, but
No
see,
sir.
that's not. But see,
No sir.
they're still gonna be the citizens of Buffalo
of
that
course,
ride for the Bills. They're going to ride for that team, like all the Lucent Four Super Bowls, with all that with you feel me? During that whole era in like the '90s stuff like that, like when the Bills made like 4
of
consecutive
course.
like bowl games and they lost stuff like that, and they still ride for the Bills. They lost to the Chiefs numerous times. They still ride for the Bills and Josh Allen.
You
So
mentioned the
Yeah,
Buffalo
yeah. I'm gonna
Bills.
let y'all have it.
I mean, yo, of course. Like there's other teams as well, like Baltimore. I think Baltimore could definitely use a team. I think Baltimore, Maryland is definitely due for a team. Of course, they had the Baltimore Bullets. They went on to become the Washington Wizards, of course. So I think Baltimore could definitely have a team as well. Like there's so many cities that
Carmelo
that are
did say-
honestly.
Yeah, Carmelo did mention that. I could see Carmelo like trying to get behind that if they were.
They'd be like, yeah, an advocate, absolutely, bro. Like Baltimore, you feel me? Like my friend from Florida said Tampa Bay needs a team. Tampa Bay, Florida, you feel me? Because obviously you have Orlando, Miami, and you have because Tampa Bay is like a really big part of Florida. You know what? My friend that stays down there said they need a team. He said he lives in that area, and he said it's crazy because he's from New Jersey where they had the Nets and stuff. And he said moving to Florida and Tampa Bay, it's crazy having no NBA team in Tampa Bay. And they have hockey, they have the NFL team with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, everything. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
So
But you have 2 teams in the NBA with Orlando and Miami, so I could see that.
Yeah.
In Florida, obviously, so it's a lot of money in Florida, most definitely. Extremely lucrative state. At Georgia, I don't see Georgia unless they have a team in Athens or something like
I
that.
actually thought about Georgia for a second, but then it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, then it has to be more up north. Honestly, yeah.
Because I was going to say, yeah. Where would that team go?
Because
I mean, that's
one's in Atlanta,
and you don't because you don't want to do Athens because
you could do
Bulldogs
Nashville.
own that,
I think Savannah. I think Savannah could get it.
Hell no.
You don't think not like off the landscape and stuff. I'm saying off like the population and stuff. There's definitely like there's just some places I'm just surprised
You
that
have to
don't have
like
any.
you have to like meet in the middle. Probably, I mean,
Because
that's why
Savannah's a
I don't
military
think.
town.
Yeah, because I don't think Georgia would be a team you could do. But I mean, I'm just saying if there is an idea, you have to be where in the middle where you could do Macon, but Macon is not.
Right. Like you have to think about the cities, like because again, you're gonna have to build this arena.
That's
And
what I'm
so,
saying.
and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna make the people pay the taxes on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But and like again, like
Yeah.
I get it, man. It's super subjective, and I understand that. But it's really crazy when you think about there's a lot of cities that do not
Right.
have a team.
Like I
Man.
said,
Like
Nashville's a good city.
like Nashville, Tennessee, I can see that.
Mhm.
You feel me? Like, yo, think about like both Dakotas, North Dakota and South Dakota.
Okay,
They
now
don't
you're doing too much. Now you doing
like. I'm not saying there's gonna be
Yeah.
52. Oh, actually, yo, that's one part I did want to talk to you about. You're still doing too much. You're hilarious. Yeah. So I was talking to my friends about this, and obviously, with the teams that we did give, obviously, like the ones we're agreeing on.
Mhm.
You said Baltimore. You said Baltimore. I do think New Jersey could get a team. I agree on Las Vegas. That's 3 right there in Seattle. So that would bring the league to a total of 34 teams for even for both conferences. So what's the max amount of teams you think the league could have to flourish, like before it would get too much? Like, do you think 30 teams is really enough, or is there so much more money in adding more teams like that? Like if we fast forward to 2045 and we have like 40 teams in the National Basketball Association, like 20 per conference. I know people can be like, it sounds ridiculous on paper or whatever, but something that's conglomerate as the NBA, if they were to do that, they either have to like shorten the season a little bit or like maybe something like that. Like in
how many teams is it now? What?
30
30?
flatline, 15, 15.
I don't think you need like 40 teams. I think if you add, like, if you're able to do right now, add one team to the West and then one more, of course, to the East, then, make it 16 each. Because I don't think you need like 40 teams. I think that's
No.
doing a little bit too much. I'm just saying, okay, because only reason why that's brought up because of the fact that we're mentioning teams that actually had that was an NBA town or had an NBA team.
Right.
Seattle, New Jersey, and we talk about Las Vegas, even though they never had an NBA team, but that's like a hot city that a lot of people like to play with, so play for. So it could be where you add Vegas, that's a Western Conference team, and then you could bring a team back in New Jersey. So it could be something like that.
Right. Okay. I mean, hey, man, you got any more cities, Wiley, or is that it?
Man, hey, bring back the Sonics, dog.
Sonics, for sure. Yeah, man. That's it for me, honestly. I gave all the cities that I want. I would like to see Buffalo, New York get a team. I'm being so serious. There's just so many people out there that have never been to an NBA team. Like, that's just not fair, man. Not everybody can afford to go to Manhattan and like go to Madison Square Garden, go to the Barclays, and not everybody can afford that. So it'd be cool for the citizens of Buffalo to really get a team. Like, they're on the border of Canada, so they probably be like in that northeastern division. So like it would just be really cool to see that, in my opinion. Like, and I do think one day they are gonna have a team in Buffalo just because off the money that is available up there, and like the citizens are definitely waiting for it. And when they announce they're coming to town, they're gonna ride for that team 100%. I do agree on Las Vegas. I think that's absolutely inevitable. We will 100% get a team in Vegas at one point. And yeah, man, I'm just really, really excited to see what the league goes to. Really wanted to talk about that because like how we talked earlier, me and Garrett never really got to see an expansion really unfold in front of our eyes like that. And I think it's really fascinating to see the team, the league even grow even bigger like that, to show that like at any moment we can get new players, new teams. Like And it's just really cool to keep the NBA fresh and stuff like that. Obviously, everyone knows about the viewership problems. We saw what they did during the All-Star Weekend, all the different format changes and stuff like that. So we're gonna continue to see what Adam Silver has up his sleeve in like the next the next 10 years. Obviously, we have approached the halfway of the decade. He's come out and said himself he wants a lot of these teams. He really does want Vegas himself. It has come out of his mouth before, and of course, he wants to return to Seattle, knowing how big of a basketball population that you have there. But we'll keep our eyes out for any other expansion rumors that do take place. But that was it for me on episode 66. Unless you boys had anything else to say, Garrett, Wiley.
Just happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Always blessed to be here. Always love to do the shout outs before we close the show. Y'all, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. Helps get the show out there more to a wider audience. We love doing this for y'all, and we'll continue to do it for y'all. Just please support us, and we'll continue to keep the great content coming. I'm going to give a shout out to Jay Holloway and Raina Holloway, the lovely couple, the lovely mother and father. Great people. Always giving out opportunities. Great basketball takes as well. Jay rides for his homies all over Twitter. And like he's a great guy, you know, and like he's been covering Notre Dame a lot lately. He's been doing a great job doing that. A lot of great footage. A lot of great coverage as well, covering Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles, and the Fighting Irish. So great things coming from the XSXC media channel. Keep watching us. Love doing this. Love this opportunity. And that's it for me, boys, in case y'all have anything else.
No, sir.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Thank y'all again for watching the Uncommon Commentators. Obviously, we don't see y'all over the weekends and stuff, so y'all have a blessed weekend. Get plenty of rest. You know, it's the last day of the week tomorrow, y'all, so we're almost there. And God bless y'all, and good night. Stay safe.